Hello and welcome everyone to this day 5 of the AICTE Atal sponsored online FTP program on generative AI fluency organized by NASCOM. Thank you so much for joining in. We'll just wait a couple of minutes while your colleagues are joining in. Okay, I think let's start.
Yeah,
Uh, Yeah, so we'll start with today's session, and just a small thing I want to tell you that assessment will be tomorrow. I'll share with you everything, all the details about the assessment tomorrow. Tomorrow the session will start at 2 o'clock, so please join in, and I'll give all the information about the assessment tomorrow. So right now, I'll just request you all to focus on the session, on the lecture, and very happy to welcome Dr. Prakash Gotedi for today's session. He's principal consultant and subject matter expert working with TechM, and he has a background as an assistant professor. So his lectures are very engaging and hands-on, which you will find out. So please do engage and interact and gain as much from the session as you can. It's a privilege to have him with us. So there's not every
thank
day
you.
that you get a chance to interact with and learn from the industry experts. So over to you, Dr. Prakash Goteti.
Thank you so much, Kaun. Good evening, dear faculty. So today we will be discussing very interesting topic pertaining to generative AI. That is, how do we use generative AI in uh, generative music and generative audio, right? So by now, I'm sure we got enough exposure, understanding of various aspects of using generative AI with various sessions from the experts, right? So today we look at a specific example, like the way you might be seeing a lot of discussions, right, in various forums on how do we use this chat GPT in education, right? In similar spirit, we will take a more specialized topic for today's discussion, that is, how do we leverage the power of large language models in music and audio content generation, right? That's what we will be doing. And we will be looking at in the perspective of like a machine learning engineer, right? To understand these intricacies, uh, for which we also need to understand the representation of the data, and uh, not only representation, but also we need to understand uh, various activities that we perform as part of the life cycle, right? So let us start without further delay, right? You are able to see my screen?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you so much. I will just keep this chart instead of panelists. I will say everybody. In case if I communicate something, it should reach to everybody, right? So this is agenda for today. One is Gemini, because Gemini is having specific powerful features, right? Which is basically multimodal content generation, right? You must have seen ChatGPT or other generative pre-trained transformer models, right? And these are prominent in text content generation, right? But we are talking about multimodal generation. A multimodal generation is something connected with a mixture of these type of formats, right? It can be text, it can be video, or it can be audio and things like that, right? So it is very important that we understand how these things work. For that, we also need to understand fundamentals of data representation of music. That's what we will be looking at subsequently. And once we understand the music representation of data in terms of music models, then we also need to look at some kind of domain aspects pertaining to music, right? We don't have to be experts in any of the instruments or any of that sort, right? And subsequently, we look at what are the generative models that we have for music. This is what we'll do. In the process, I will show you some use cases and how people are using it in uh, practice, right? All right. So first we need to understand why we have taken this specific example of LLM called Gemini. You know that there are a lot of large language models available, but specifically the choice made here is Gemini because Gemini supports multimodal AI. So if for that we need to first look at characteristics or various features of Gemini. So Gemini is an artificial intelligence bot tool. It is designed by Google says to support conversational AI application development using natural language processing and machine learning, right? So this is actually started as a research concept, and then it got extended, and now it has become very powerful large language model. So it is powerful in the sense that it has the ability to get integrated with various web content like web pages, right? Messaging platforms and some kind of search functionalities, right? Towards realistic response generation, right? So there are various algorithms that you can see from Google, right, in the space of uh, web mining, right? People who are familiar with web mining, they will be knowing One classic example is page ranking algorithm, right? How many of you know page ranking algorithm from Google in case of web mining? Hello? No problem, because that is not our intention. But so web mining is very again a good research area for people who are interested in pursuing PhDs, right? So unless we have holistic understanding of all these aspects, right? Working on a particular application leveraging large language model may not be very mm, wise step, right? So often people will have myth that okay, if you want to work on generative AI or agentic AI, you should be good in math, statistics, right? Machine learning algorithms, fine tuning of the algorithms, isn't it? Performance evaluation and all that. But that is not the case actually. You can actually speed up your learning curve. This session is one way is aiming at providing that kind of insight that what are the things that you should be aware of, what are the things you should be well versed with, what are the things you should be hands on, right? So that kind of perspective we will try to bring in this session so that people who are interested in pursuing multidisciplinary research in the space of AI that can be done, right? Uh, if you recall, right, in artificial intelligence, we have specific domains, right? One is machine learning, other one is natural language processing, and other one is generative AI, and then we have things like agentic AI, right? But in terms of research scope, that you if you look at, then it is difficult to do things in generative AI or agentic AI because these are essentially encapsulation of existing models. So best way to look at is you need to pick up a domain area, and with the further domain, how do we leverage these techniques? For example, medical imaging is a good area, and you can use computer vision. You can think of vision models for medical imaging or healthcare, for example. And similarly, you can look at certain other domains like BFSI, banking, insurance, financial sector. How can I develop certain models, right? Or fintech, right? Uh, s- so when you look at that particular domain area, depending upon the domain area, you need to acquire certain skills, isn't it? So that is important point I want to make. For to be successful in the space of generative AI or RAG models and all that, what you need is good understanding of LLMs, right? What is generative AI? How generative models differ from discriminative models. I think, in one of the sessions we discussed about the difference between generative model and a discriminative model, right? So can anyone tell the difference between generative model and discriminative model? Because we should not look at uh, you should not look at each of these sessions in isolation. We need to uh, essentially look at them in a holistic way and integrate all the dots, right? Because each session will be focusing on a specific area of generative AI, right? But and also it is not just the fundamentals of generative AI, right? What we are doing it slightly more than that. What is the title of this program? Can anyone tell? What the title of this program? We are talking about fluency, right? Fluency is not just uh, basics, right? Isn't it? Okay. Professor Jabanpreet Singh says that generative models generate the content and discriminative check and verify whether it is fake or not. Okay, good. Yeah, anyone else? Okay, generative AI will generate a new model by studying existing ones. Mm-hmm. So generative AI is based on a distribution, right? Data distribution, which can be like your statistical distribution and things like that, right? Whereas in the discriminative model, you think of having certain model with parameters, and you try to predict, like someone rightly mentioned, right? Uh, you either predict or you label, right? So, so discriminative models are more predominant in the space of machine learning. So generative models along with reinforcement learning design techniques, right, are prominent in the space of generative AI and agentic AI, right? So generative AI is a precursor for agent development. Okay, so I am sure you must have heard about agentic AI because that has been buzzword in recent past, right? How do we develop these agents, isn't it? So as I say, as you know from the earlier discussion as well, agents are encapsulation of existing application which is driven by AI, right? So then when you have one application interacting with another application, essentially you talk about orchestrators, right? That's where this model such as RAG, etc., comes into picture, right? So now if you look at just the evolution of this Gemini, it is started in early 2023, very recent, right? And it is actually from DeepMind. And then subsequently, it got scaled up further. Now, if you see just 1 year back, you have Gemini 2.0, which is an experimental version from Google AI Studio, right? And Vertex AI is another thing that we may want to look at it for developing these models and deploy them, right? So, so there is significant and tremendous progress by Google in this space, where you have entire ecosystem to develop and deploy and orchestrate these kind of models, right? So when you get a chance, you just explore certain labs in Google platform, right? Now this is I want you to pay some attention to this slide, uh, because this is very important for us to understand in terms of motivation behind this session, right? So here it is a comparative study. We are talking about various features, and we have pre-trained transformer models versus Gemini. So the feature or aspects, if you look at, one is support for multimodal content, right? Multimodal content I already explained. Second aspect is uh, comprehension of image and video, right? And comprehension in the sense that the way you have natural language understanding, here the model should be able to comprehend the content and the context associated with the combination of image and text, etc., right? Then audio understanding, this self-explanatory, what is audio understanding, right? Now data fusion. Data fusion essentially with combining different types of contents, right? You remember earlier we talked about data formats, right? What are the data types we talked about? Structured, semi-structured, unstructured, right? Why we talked about suddenly these kind of data types instead of integer, float, and strings? Can you answer this question? Why are we talking about? Yeah, yes, Professor Ravi Kumar, Ravindra Kumar. Sorry, I will show you some of these use cases also. You are fantastic. You got fantastic example. Now, can you answer me this question? When we talk about data types here, we are saying semi-structured, structured, and unstructured kind of data. But we are not talking about integer or float or character or string, right? What is the reason? If you recall, we discussed this, I explained this in the very beginning session, right? Team, I want this session to be very interactive. Otherwise, it will be very easy for us, na? We can just run through the slides. Did you got attention to this question that I asked? Hello? Because they understand patterns. Okay. Notes of ragas. Yeah, very good. Exactly. Our data focus on text, audio, etc. Remember, we are giving data as well as sample output to the model to, to generate the program. Our computational model is different here, right? If you recall, we talked about computational model, right? Let me show you again. What is our computational model here, right? Give me a minute. Our computation model. You can see the screen, right? Can you see the blackboard? Yeah, very good. So what is our computation model? We have input, we have output. This is our model, right? And we want to get a program from this, right? So here my input is multimodal. We are not just talking about, we are not talking about integer, float, etc. These are the data types in traditional computational model. Because our computational model, what is traditional computational model? Input, process, output. So our computational model is different, isn't it? That is the reason we should always keep this computational model in mind, right? So, and again, life cycle. If you think in terms of life cycle, right? It life cycle is similar to your HDFC life cycle. Life cycle is similar to SDLC life cycle. Sorry, right? But it is not the SDLC life cycle. One is you have a data collection. From data collection, you have second step, that is data cleaning. It is similar to, but different. Of data cleaning, or what you call uh, you know imputation and all that. Now we have pre-processing, and then you can add a step called data selection and model development and things like that, right? So you remember what are the steps in life cycle of machine learning, for example? Then you have next step, feature engineering, right? Feature engineering, then model selection. After that, model fine tuning, then you have deployment, right? And these are not sequential, right? So you can have backward arrow to various steps, right? So this is based upon inspection and adoption, right? Adoption, right? So that means you just start to keep running through this sequence, and again you take the feedback again and revisit all these steps, right? Like this. Now, considering this kind of set of this kind of steps in the life cycle, how it look like in our music or audio generation. So this is another important subject that we'll be discussing. Considering this specific use case of music and audio generation, how each of these steps look like. That's what we are going to discuss in today's session, right? All right. Any questions so far? Let me check chart. Any questions so far? All right. So this is how Gemini is a differentiator with respect to rest of the GPT type models, right? So now Let us understand comparison of your Gemini with, you know, Open AI Chat GPT, right? When you compare, right, any comparison that you do, uh, essentially you should compare with respect to certain aspects, right? Certain features. So here, what we are saying is, we can think of model size, modality, performance, accessibility, and the cost associated with it, right? So if you take Google Gemini, there are 200 billion parameters, right? Let's say you take Ultra. OpenAI based ChatGPT model, on the other hand, supports 175 billion parameters. So does it mean that Google Gemini is better? By just looking at this statement, can we say this is the best? I have two models. One model is having, let's say, 50 parameters. Another model is having 10 parameters. Can we just say that the model with 50 parameters is better always? Hello? Yes, Dr. Sinha, we are going to explore that connection between AI and media here, right? Media means we are talking about different uh, media like text and other effects. That's what we are going to discuss. We need to be little patient, right? Because we need to cover uh, certain fundamentals, isn't it? So we are in the process of covering those fundamentals. Okay. Now you answer my question. Suppose you have two models. One model is having 50 parameters. Another model is having, let's say, 20 parameters. Let's say you call A, comma B respectively. Which model is better? Can we say that or no? If so, why? If not, why not? You got my question, all of you? What I'm saying is, you see the first line here, model size 200 billion parameters in the case of Gemini, and you have ChatGPT with 175 billion. By looking at this statement, can I say that Gemini is better because it has 200 billion parameters? Or on what basis can we judge like that or no? If yes, justify. If no, also justify. So Sukanya madam saying that it depends on the requirements of the user, right? Of course, yes. It is not only requirements of the user, it depends upon the complexity of the model and the complexity of the use case. Uh, but it depends on the complexity, right? Why Gemini has 200 billion parameters? Why it has 175 in ChatGPT? Or at least, why do we have more model parameters in the case of Gemini compared to ChatGPT? Hmm? What could be the reason for Gemini to be more complex than ChatGPT model? Hello. Because of the presence and support for multimodal data. So the multimodal data is not effectively supported by your GPT models, right? That's what I said. So that is the second point is combined with first point. Performance wise, so of course it outperforms in certain areas in math, particularly coding and reasoning type of use cases. And in chat GPT, it is comparable to human experts. Both are, more or less same, but Gemini is reasonably be better than GPT model under these specific things, right? In generalization and in language generation and storytelling and dialogue systems, right? So there is also cost effectiveness you can see, right? All right. Now I have some questions. So yes, see, your future skill platform, there are certain questions like, suppose you have these questions, right? Out of three variants of Gemini, which is lightweight one? So your assessment, you will have some uh, tools related thing and some certain concepts related thing based on the content that you are given access to, right? So please go through the content carefully and make some notes of important points so that that will be helpful, very helpful for your end of the program assessment, right? Because what we cover in the class is completely, in sync with that kind of expectation. I don't want to cover something as a Gyan kind of session. It is tightly coupled with your outcomes and the expectations. Okay. Yeah, nano is correct. All right. There may be some questions you must have seen this. Can you answer this question? Generative AI. Generative AI is for creative writing and scientific research. It cannot be used in education due to lack of imparting personalized learning experience. Is it true or false? Some people are saying true, some people are saying false. I am interested in knowing why it is false. Someone, Viswajit, why it is false? Allah, Viswajit, are you there? No, it can provide learning experiences, okay. But the question is different here, right? I am asking people who are saying false. Because you can see these kind of questions, right? See, first of all, it cannot be used in education due to lack of imparting personalized learning experience. It cannot be used, 1 minute. So, partially this is correct, but not the reasoning part. This due part is correct, incorrect. It cannot be used in education. There are different reasons. This is wrong reason. That is number one. Not because of this it cannot be used, right? But it can be used with monitoring, right? And evaluation. Because creative rating, if you use, then there are a lot of IP related issues, right? Correct? Intellectual property related thing, originality related thing, isn't it? Exactly. Manjula, as you said correctly, madam, with guidance, verification, responsible usage. Well said. So that's how you need to be careful when you open the options. Now look at this question. Now tell me what is the option for this? What are the right options for this? Hmm? What could be the right options here? Hello. Can you identify the most appropriate options? Radhika madam is, sorry, Radha madam is saying it is 2 and 4. And Surendra is saying only 2. 1 and 2. Okay. Anyone else? Second is correct. No, there you can see check boxes, right? The moment you see check boxes, you should know that there are more than one option correct. I'm saying more than one option. So correct answer is 1 and 4. Had you been paying enough attention to the slides, it is already mentioned over there, right? Yes or no? Is it clear why it is 1 and 4? Hmm? Do you agree or disagree with me? Options 1 and 4. Because it is cost effective. We mentioned in the slide also earlier, right? Let's see here. Okay. Now, once we understand the key features of Gemini as a large language model, now we will get into the specific domain called music as data, right? So before we understand any domain, there are certain things that we should start with. One is data representation, right? So the data representation in case of music is of three forms, right? One is sheet music, another one is audio music, and then instrumental music. These are three formats that we have. Now, considering these formats, we also land up with we need to deal with certain challenges, right, pertaining to this kind of data. The first challenge is the representation of the data and limitations with respect to annotation of the data set. Then third one is expressibility of the data and vocal complexity, right? Then musical structure and context, style imitations and creativity evaluation metric, right? So expressivity means ability to generate the content which is close to what we are using to train this model, right? So the contextual information should be kept intact. So next, what is the motivation for studying this use case? One is we want to add some creativity to existing content, that is music, for example. You want to create some fusion type of experiments, leveraging some of these features of generative models, using which you generate some new musical content and you kind of fusion that with existing content and things like that, right? And of course, it will be very helpful for the people who learn music and as well as for the musicians. So there are certain projects that you can think of in this. There are many things that are happening in these areas broadly. One is unified music representation, expressive performance modeling, emotion aware music generation, ethical and copyright aware music systems, right? Because in few minutes back, we discussed about ethical aspects, right? One of the important thing is ethics. Now let us understand the life cycle. What are the life cycle steps that we have? Okay. The steps you see, I explained already on the board, right? The life cycle steps, when I say steps. First thing is you need to understand the data. Understanding the data also includes understanding the data representation, which means various formats of availability of this particular music data, right? So one is raw audio data, which can be of the form of MP3 or text grid, so on and so forth. Now, sheet music. So, sheet music, these are the formats, and so is the case with hidden instruments. Now, let us take small example. Now, can you hear this? I'm just playing this. You're able to hear this, right? Yeah, you must have heard about this kind of background music in some famous film, right? What is that movie? Can you guess? Let me play again. Let me play again because I increased the volume. Can you guess which movie it is? This is a BGM. You must have seen Bahubali movie, right? Yeah, correct. Now, when you see those kind of complex movies, they always talk about VFX and all that, right? So that special effects are getting generated by mixing the content using AI with the theme, right? Now, if you see this kind of a thing, now the representation, what is the representation on one hand you see here, it is it is time versus frequency representation. On the other hand, you have amplitude representation. So it turns out that time frequency representation is more informative because it will incorporate context, because we are talking about context modeling, right? In music, how context is preserved through notes, then talas and all that, right? Isn't it? So sequence modeling is very important thing in this case also, because there is a context attached to what you are going to generate next. And context modeling means sequential models, like for example text generation also. If you want to create a new text, or like summarization, right? You want to develop a RAG model or agent which will do the document summarization. In order to make document summary, one that should know very clearly the context associated with it, right? So such contextual modeling requires sequential sequential computations, right? You must have heard about LSTM model, like long short term memory, right? So these are the models which will preserve the context associated with it prior to next generation content, right? Now, as I said here, we talked about music representations. This is simple text. So if you take some Aditalam, right? This is how the symbolic representation, something like that, right? What is that? We are talking about Brahma Kadigina Padamu, right? So this is the representation of the content in one form, right? Similarly, you can think of, sorry, similarly you can think of different forms, right? Now, if you look at audio processing and sheet music processing, sheet music is something like this. I will show you sheet music. 1 minute. Where is sheet music? I think I don't have that. Okay. Sheet music means you will have some symbols, right? Raga symbols and other things, right? All right. Now, in terms of pre-processing, vocal and instrumental pre-processing, you adopt different strategies compared to your sheet music pre-processing, right? One of them is normalization uh, in the case of audio music, and then denoising, and there is something called segmentation where you kind of look at in terms of incremental steps, right? Then resampling of the stereo or mono conversion, feature extraction, then data augmentation. What is data augmentation? Can anyone tell? What is data augmentation? Yes, you are right, Professor Ravindra Kumar. Yeah, generating data. Data augmentation, you want to generate new data because if input data is not much sufficient for the training, right? Then there is a concept called windowing or framing because this will go as a data stream, right? So, 1 minute. When you say windowing concept, right? When you have a stream of this particular data is going on, you capture that in buckets, like the way, suppose you have a stream, river stream, right? You cannot analyze entire river stream at once, right? What you do, you take a bucket and then collect the waters and try to analyze and pick up another bucket. You do some kind of a sampling, right? But here window means you take small chunk in the data, you scan through that, right? In a very systematic fashion. Now, similar activities you can see on the sheet music, right? Sheet music, you will see symbolic representations and all that. So you think of standardization of tempo and keys, and then various track separation techniques, so on and so forth. So the point I want to bring to your notice is, unless we understand the representation of the data, whether it is sheet music representation or audio representation or dot wave file, etc., it is difficult to figure out the specific tasks that you want to carry out as part of your life cycle, right? So, to give some examples of this particular life cycle concept, let me just go to the blackboard again. Now, tell me if you are able to see my blackboard, right? Are you able to see blackboard? Hello? Can you see the blackboard? No? Give me a minute. I will share again. Can you see now? Good. So, what I'm saying here is that you look at the life cycle steps, right? So, the life cycle steps, let me list out for you. One is data collection without, right? Data collection. So, data collection, it can be like script in the case of music, or something like subtitles, and uh, in the case of video, you can think of footage also, right? Then you can think of dialogues in the case of movie, and audio tracks, right? These are the some of the examples, right? So this is something. Now after that you have some cleaning, right? Data cleaning. So in the data cleaning step, you can think of certain activities like uh, handling corrupted files, right? Sometimes these audio video files might be corrupted, and you can think of missing data, removal, right? And then you also perform some kind of standardization, standardizing formats. What are the formats we talked about? Like .mp4, and you can see .wave, etc., etc., right? This is about data cleansing. Next, you have text processing. Sorry, let me push this little up. Then comes text processing. Text processing, you know, right? It is like tokenization and then uh, lemmatization. You know lemmatization, right? You had NLP session prior to this or no? Hello? You had NLP session or not prior to this? Okay, good. Then you have audio processing. Next is when you say pre-processing, right? Or feature engineering. And here there is something called named entity recognitions, right? What is named entity recognition? Suppose you say Delhi, okay? You say it is city. Suppose you say Ramu, you should say noun, like that, right? Name and entity, you construct them as tuples. You know tuple data structure, right? In Python. So, so now when it comes to feature engineering, so you deal with something like combining audio, video, right? Combining audio, video, that is one thing. And then encoding of categorical data, that can be one thing. And you can also think of uh, uh, for example, creating scene level summarization. Summarization. Scene level summarization in the sense that it can be connected with some emotional scene and it can be connected with the general stuff and then things like that, right? Then after that, you will perform some data splitting, right? Data splitting. This is standard routine thing, right? Why do you split the data? To train the model and again to test the model, right? So these are the typical steps that you can think of as part of this life cycle. Any question here? Because earlier we had a lot of curiosity in understanding this, how exactly it works, how I can map the activities of traditional AML life cycle stuff to this particular use case, right? So is it clear or any questions that you have? Can we proceed? Hello? Okay. Now let me share my screen. We'll go to this again. Now let us see how people are perceiving this, what kind of use cases that we have and all that. So one more important thing is understanding the styles, right? So there are certain things that we need to understand when it comes to music, aspects of Hindustani and Carnatic music, right? There are a couple of things. One is tala, other one is pitch. Then combinatorics and recursion. So these are the three aspects in which you have different styles that we call, either Carnatic or Hindustani, right? So how do we actually look at this? The recursive swaras that you see, right? These can be looked into as fractals, right? What is a fractal? So it how there is a great question I have. How do generative music models learn musical structure such as rhythm, harmony, and style variations without music theory rules? This is a good question. See, uh, theory rules are human understandable format, right? So when it comes to machine will internally represent all this data in terms of numbers, right? So what is the main characteristic of these models? They have the ability to unearth the hidden patterns in the data better than what human being can do with this representation, right? Yes or no? That's why we are working on these machine learning models, isn't it? Their ability to unearth that hidden patterns through the sequence modeling is what it makes, you know, a collective inferencing on this, right? But again, having said that, when you develop something, if you want to fine tune it against the styles, then again you may have to do little bit of intervention there. Are you getting? So similarly, there are certain aspects like Carvesi and Jetis, there is some evidence of a pattern. So because now we have a question saying that how really these machines understand these patterns. It is trying to understand your question. Like who asked this question? Uh, yeah, Professor Manjula, right? Great question. So to understand that, let us take an example how a particular thing that you actually experience can be modeled as a mathematical pattern. So please listen to this video carefully. I will just minimize this. Can you see the screen? Can you hear this? Can you hear this? Hello, are you able to hear this? Can you listen this? Yeah, okay. Let me play it again. Oh, yeah.
सरस्वतीं विधि प्रिया देवी सरस्वतीं विधि प्रिया देवी सदा भजरे मम मानस सरस्वतीं विधि प्रिया देवी सदा भजरे मम मानस सरस्वती
will pause here.
Varaswar Jati Yati Navarasayuta Sat Sangita Moda Shrutilaya Varaswar Jati Yati Navarasayuta Sat Sangita Moda Pratipati Shashan Mukha Sanuta Jita Bhaskara Shveta Padmasana Pratipati Shunmukha Sanuta Jita Bhaskara Padma Shveta Sana Ajnana Paranam Dana Parama Vijnana Prada Paradevatam Anaga Ajnana Praharanam Dana Parama Vijnana Prada Paradevatam Anaga Saraswati Vidhi Priyam Devi Sada Bhajare Mama.
All right. Yeah. So you must have seen the patterns, right? How the Fibonacci sequence is actually, can be realized through how you play these notes, right? So this is one thing, and that's the motivation for this to get mathematics and music point of view, isn't it? So then essentially once you can map this spectrum to a mathematical model, then we all convinced that a mathematical model is actually a representation of your large language models, right, as output. So that is the beauty of this concept actually. So I try to bring this use case so that it will help us to realize how this can be done exactly, like like you asked that question. So these are the some of the mathematical transformations, like short time Fourier transformation, right, where it can be used standardized spectrogram, right. Spectrogram is some kind of a tool where you want to generate this music using Python libraries, right. So then there are certain things like, for example, constant Q transformation, right? Then Mel frequency, wavelet transformation, and things like that, right? So I try to curate things which are very relevant in this context, and especially when someone is interested in doing PhD in this space, probably these can help as pointers in that. Now, if you see another use case, right, how it is being used, uh, this is like ongoing research project. Let me just
human collaboration with intelligent machines. A different musician in a different town with a different approach is giving the same problem a shot.
People are concerned about AI replacing humans, and I think it's not only not going to replace humans, it's going to enhance humans. I'm Gil Weinberg. I'm the founding director of Georgia Tech's Center for Music Technology. Ready? In my lab, we are trying to create the new technologies that will explore new ways to be expressive, to be creative. Shimon, it's a marimba playing robot. What it does, it's listen to humans
This is a
play,
very good use case where
and
how
it can improvise.
AI applications
Shimon
can
is our
complement
first robotic
musicians.
musician that has the ability to find patterns through machine learning. Machine learning is the ability to find patterns in data. So, for example, if we feed Shimon, Miles Davis, it will try to see what note is he likely to play after what note. And once it finds its patterns, it can start to manipulate it, and I can have the robot playing in a style that maybe is 30% Miles Davis, 30% Bach, 30% Madonna, and 10% my own, and create morphing of music that humans would never create.
Gil's groundbreaking work in artificial creativity and musical expression has been performed by symphonies around the world. But his innovation also caught the attention of another musician.
Okay.
A guy who unexpectedly pushed Gil beyond enhancing robots to augmenting humans.
I met Jason Barnes about 6 years ago, and I was just about finishing one phase of developing Shimon. And I was starting to think, what's next?
I got my first drum kit when I was 15 on Christmas.
Okay, you're able to hear, right? Yeah.
And when I lost my limb, I was 22, so I was kind of used to having two limbs. I started trying to fabricate prosthetics to try and get me back on the kit, which eventually led me to working and collaborating with Georgia Tech.
He told me that he lost his arm. He was devastated, he was depressed. Music was his life. And he said, I saw that you develop robotic musicians. Can you use some of the technology that you have in order to allow me to play again like I used to? So that's a prosthetic arm that we built for Jason. When he came to us, he just wanted to be able to use sensors here so he can hold the stick tight or loose. I suggested let's do that, but also let's have two sticks. One stick can operate with a mind of its own, understanding the music and improvising. One stick can operate based on what you tell it with your muscle. And also each one of the sticks can play 20 hertz, faster than any humans. And together they can create polyrhythm, create all kinds of textures that humans cannot create. All right, I think we're ready to play.
In some ways, the robotic drum arm allows Jason to play better than he ever has, but it still lacks the true function or feeling of a human hand.
They don't provide the kind of dexterity and subtle control that would really allow anything.
This revelation drove Gil to his next innovation, the Skywalker hand. Inspired by Luke Skywalker from Star Wars and created in collaboration with Jason, the revolutionary tech brings what was once the realm of sci-fi a little closer to our galaxy.
This is just like a 3D printed hand that you can download the files online.
Currently, most advanced prosthetic hands can't even thumbs up or flip you the bird. They can only open or grip, using all 5 fingers at once.
Most of the prosthetics that are available on the market nowadays actually use EMG technology, which stands for electromyography. And essentially what it does is there are 2 sensors that make contact with my residual limb, and they pick up electrical signals from the muscles. So again, when I flex and extend my residual limb, it will open and close the hand, and I can rotate as well. But the problem with EMG is it's very vague electrical signals, so 0 to 100%. It's not very accurate at all. The Skywalker hand actually uses ultrasound tech. Ultrasound provides an image, and you can see everything that's going on inside of the arm.
Ultrasound uses high-frequency sound waves to capture live images from inside the body. As Jason flexes his muscles to move each of his missing fingers, ultrasound generates live images that visualize his intention. The AI then uses machine learning to predict patterns, letting a man who's lost one of his hands move all 5 of his fingers individually, even if he's as unpredictable as Keith Moon.
The work that Gil is doing is really important. Gil comes from a non-engineering background, which means that his technology and the way he thinks about robotics is actually quite different than, say, the way I would think about it, since I come from an engineering background. And the commonality is that we want to design robots to really impact and make a difference in the world.
We were able to create a proof of concept with Jason Barnes. Once we discovered that we can do this with ultrasound, immediately I looked at, hey, let's try to help more people.
All right, just leave me hanging, holding it. I'll just keep holding it. It's not heavy or anything.
So you can slide it.
No, I'm messing with it. So I met Jason Barnes at an event called Lucky Fin Weekend. They're a foundation that deals with limb difference. There we go. All right, and it's out. Do you ever work on your car without the hook?
Oh, really? That's just way easier and efficient for me, too.
Dude, the hook really trips me out, though, man. When I lost my hand, it was close to 30 years ago, and prosthetics were kind of stuck in the dark ages.
All right. I think I will stop this. Let me show you one more thing very interesting. So this is again, how you put some IoT device where by looking at is sensor signals, by signs that you make, so you will see some application responding to those signs. This is very interesting. See, one of the disorders that we see normally is something called autism, right? So it is found in research that people who actually listen to certain type of musical patterns, such as voice of these dolphins, right? How these dolphins communicate each other. Repeatedly listening to those kind of patterns might improve that from that problem. So we can't just bring dolphins and create that kind of a recording, right? So there is a generative AI application which actually learns from that particular noise in ocean and try to you know uh, reproduce that kind of representation. Please listen to this carefully.
When I was 12 years old, I would page through the encyclopedia. I would stop on the whale and dolphin page and I would go, I wonder what is going on in the minds of these animals. Language to me is the ultimate question about intelligence. The thing that we haven't been able to nail without a great tool. How do you decipher another species? The main use of dolphin Gemma is to eventually look at their natural language patterns and match it with the underwater video. That's how we really figure out their language if they had it. All right, beautiful day. Woohoo!
Imagine a world where you could talk to an animal. Dolphin Gemma is the first LLM for dolphins. We've leveraged over 40 years of Denise's vocalization research to create this large language model to generate new synthetic dolphin sounds. These sounds will help us to one day hopefully communicate with the dolphins.
Dad shows up at my office one day and he's wearing one of his many wearable computers. And I'm like, ooh, this guy's like a techno man, right?
I was like, well, I do wearable computers. This sounds like a summer project. We'll get this done for you. Here it is 15 years later. We've engineered this Chat Junior device to play our synthetic dolphin sounds underwater. Now let's see which one this one is. That is the signature whistle for Denise, so that whenever she's approaching the dolphin, she can introduce herself.
So what they're doing is they're testing the distance at which the two chat boxes can efficiently recognize our synthetic sounds. Oh, there we go. All right. We want it to work close to 100% before we take it in with the dolphins. It's this dance between getting data and respecting their culture.
I'm not very seaworthy, so.
You did great.
The true breakthrough for me with Dolphin Gemma is that I can generate so many of these so quickly. I just scroll through here and do days worth of work in minutes. If we can use this open model, people would take advantage of Denise's 40 years worth of research and use it to model for their own purposes.
Science is most exciting when you find something you're not expecting. You may discover something that you never even thought to look for. And that's the beauty. You don't know what's coming.
All right. See, such a nice, interesting applications from Google, right? It is not just limited to, an abstract model of your generative AI, right? So it is about mixing that with good domain expertise will help us create more interesting and vital applications for mankind, isn't it? So, and there are certain things that you can look at, right, in the music and movie industry standpoint. One is Shankar Mahadevan as music AI, right? So this is one interesting thing. where you see Shankar Mahadevan's kind of lab session, right, on uh, 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 Google platform, right? And similarly, full song generation, there is another use case. Probably you can go through it maybe later on. And the first a Indian music creation platform, right? Something like Hanuman AI Srinidhi Ranganathan, right? This is the platform aims at basically revolutionizing our Indian music industry using AI. There are many, many such things that you can explore, like Suno AI platform, right? So these are the certain things probably which will, create enough motivation for us to integrate domain knowledge in and with these large language models rather than just looking them in isolation. That's why these models are becoming very, very prominent because their ability to learn from different corpus and different data sets pertaining to various domains, right? And from human side, you need to have some interventions in terms of fine tuning them and in terms of ethics and you know integrity aspects. That's where that component becomes very, very critical actually. So without ethics component, uh, this becomes incomplete, isn't it? So with that note, I would like to stop this session. And we are all good faculty. What difference we can make in this world is to give good education as educators to our students, teach them how to become program language independent thinking, right? From program oriented syntax driven thinking. Like, for example, instead of binding ourselves to syntax of a particular language, how do we teach them to have programming language independent thinking or higher level of abstraction? So that kind of mindset will help people succeed in these tremendous fast moving fields, right? Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Hope my session is informative. I am looking for Q&A if you have any. Yeah, any questions you have? Thank you. So questions you have any? Please shoot it. I will try to answer or I will give some options.
Yeah, I think also people should come on video once
Yeah,
that Dr. Prakash can and we can take a picture and it would be nice to have everybody on a video.
yeah, yeah, correct. All right. Yeah,
Right.
thank
Thank
you.
you thank you so much, Dr. Prakash
Thank,
Gottreddy.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for that
Yeah,
session. And I'm sure it was very beneficial for all the faculty members who joined in. Thank you so much,
thanks
and we
for the
hope to
opportunity. Thank you
have
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Yeah, we hope
Bye.
to have you back next part
Sure.
as well.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Anjana. Welcome.
Hi, Kamna. Good evening.
Uh, Good evening, welcome. And just I'll take 2-3 minutes of your time. I just want to show them the assessment which is there on Future Skills Prime, which they need to take. So, respected faculty members, please just pay some attention. I'm just showing the Future Skills Prime assessment that you can take tomorrow. So, I'm just sharing my screen. One second. I'm just sharing my screen. So, this is the Future Skills Prime website where you can log in. So I already have, all of you will be, would have access. You can create your passwords and you can just log in and onboard. You can sign up and onboard. So once you sign up and log in, you just go to groups. Okay. So when you go to groups, you will see your group over there, which is this group. Which is the AICTE Atal Online FT Generation Generative AI Fluency Participants. This is your group. In this group, you will see this assessment, which is the AI Fluency Assessment, AICT. You can use this only once. So please be mindful of the time. When you take this assessment, please complete it in one sitting. Just go to enroll. And I'm not confirming right now because then I have to take this right now. But you just confirm it and take the assessment. So please take this assessment tomorrow and we will try and get all the scores by Monday. So, so that's what you can take this assessment tomorrow anytime. Anytime tomorrow you can take this assessment. I'm putting the link over here also for all of you. Basically, you need to sign up on Future Skills Prime, fill your details, do the onboarding, and then you will be able to go to groups and see this assessment. And you can take this assessment and we will get the scores. Okay. After the going to the group, you will see your group, which is AICT Atal Generative AI Fluency Participants. There, when you go in the group, you will see this assessment. And you can take this assessment. Please take some time gap of at least half an hour to do this because you can do it only once. It's free of cost. And we will be getting the scores by Monday or Tuesday. We'll get the scores. Then we'll update it on Atal. And then you can get your certificate from Atal. So I just wanted to share. We've made it simpler. In the previous batches, there was a coupon code and assessment. We've just simplified it now. The assessment is available in the group. You don't have to do anything, just enroll, like sign up, onboard, and enroll, and you'll be able to take. No, please make sure your network is fine. I cannot give access to the assessment again and again. So kindly make sure that network is fine, your camera is working, everything is in good condition, and then attempt it. You can attempt it anytime by Sunday also. I'm just giving extra time because I'll be pulling out the scores on Monday. So that's, I thank you for your time, Anjana. I know I took some time.
No
I'm
problem.
not
We
going to
want
share
all
all
of
this.
you to pass. If you want, I can repeat it by the end of the session again,
Yes,
so
please
that
repeat
they
it once,
remember.
please, because I'm not going to put the steps in WhatsApp group. That's why I'm explaining it everything here. And if you want, I can explain at 2 o'clock tomorrow. I'm not going to write all the steps in WhatsApp, please.
So I think all of you should first sign up on Future Skills Prime because that's the primary step. And like Kamna said, as soon as you sign up, because of your email address, you will be seeing a group which is mapped to your organization and AICTE, and then you can go there and you don't even have to pay for the assessment. This assessment you can also search if you forget the route. For example, like some of you
No.
might.
They cannot search. No. This is
No,
closed
okay,
group. We've made it a closed group. Only they can see
okay,
because we've done it free of cost now.
okay.
So they have to go in the group. Only
Go
there
in
they
the
will
group.
see the.
Okay. So go to the group, and when you go to the group, and you will find the assessment there. So you have to just click on it. Make sure you're in a good network space, you're in a good place, you're sitting comfortably before you start, because it's going to be taking 30 minutes at least. And it also is proctored, AI proctored. So make sure you're comfortable, ready to take the assessment before you proceed. Yeah.
Right. Right. Thank you so much, Anjana. And now you can take your session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kamna. So, right. With respect to I am going to be sharing my PPT, and I still see a lot of you asking a lot of questions about when to take the assessment. This is the online assessment, and so if you understand, it is your choice, your time which you choose. So you can take this assessment at any given time when you want to take it. You don't have to, there's no set time, and you can take it to is that clear? I hope everybody is clear, and you've all heard you can take it any time. So there is no particular time. You need to just be available for 30-45 minutes to take the assessment. Don't be in a hurry and, just miss on questions is what the idea is.
Yeah, and I'll just repeat once again that assessment is available on your group, and you can, in terms of time, take it before Sunday, because on Monday I'll be pulling out the scores. So you have time tomorrow, and by Sunday, please finish the assessment. That's it. Thanks.
So, hi everyone. Let's come back to the topic. This is the first time I'm coming on the almost the last day, I think, because tomorrow you're going to be taking assessment. So I'm going to be today talking about generative AI and its, how is it being used in retail and fashion. Uh, I just want to check questions before I proceed so that you are in the present and we are not, still in the past. So I'm going to be talking about generative AI and how it's going to be utilized in enhancing the SCM in retail and fashion. Now, I hope all of you might have already learned, multiple things, and by this time you would be knowing a lot on AI fluency, where all it is used. I also heard through Dr. Prakash's little presentation where he spoke about music and how music industry is utilizing generative AI. Now, before we go into it, I would like to talk about the agenda that I'll be covering. I'll be covering, supply chain management is a huge topic, and you all being faculty would know that supply chain management, if you look at the world business share, I think almost 60-70 percentage of the trade would be in supply chain management. And we're talking about end to end. We're talking about the industries which are in supply chain management. We're talking about how the supply chain management touches every part of your life. So I won't be able to cover all of it, and I don't intend to cover it because my agenda is to cover how generative AI is going to transform this area. What are the changes that Gen AI is going to be influencing? And I have just put a very, very important part here. What is the future Gen AI onwards? I stress upon this area because this is what is already happening, and we will have to get here, and it's a very important component of this whole presentation. Now, at the cost of being repetitive, I would still like to walk through what is generative AI, right? What does generative AI does? It has so what is so different that we are talking about Gen AI? If you look at AI systems, and I'll go through the history a bit in the next one or two slides where we talk about when AI evolved. It is almost 50 years that AI evolved. So how is Gen AI different? And it's almost like we speak about industry 5.0 now, not even 4.0. We were talking about 4.0 few 1 year back, and there's a sudden shift and we're talking about industry 5.0. So it's called the biggest boom after internet, yeah, which was in the 90s. How is it going to be changing systems? How is it going to be influencing different areas we are working on? We're going to be talking about certain foundation model like large language model, like GPT, Claude, diffusion model, mid journey. These are diffusion models. So basically generative AI has different kind of models. They're known for their unique, so some of them are known for their unique areas. You do know that you would have heard of Chat GPT, which is kind of primarily being used a lot because of it being applicable to most of the areas, because we don't generate a lot of images, or we don't do a lot of, I would say, generating. It can even generate code. So the capability of a generative AI model, which is going to be generating text, images, code, predictions, or complex decision making. What is the different, what is the different traditional AI, and how does it differentiate from the AI? The key technology which is going to be behind generative AI. So let's talk about the Gen AI evolution. As I said, AI was always there for last almost 50 years. So AI evolved almost, or the terminology at least AI was quoted in the years 1950. And as we move forward, what was holding the AI leap was the models which are needed, which are transformers or storage capacity or processing. And in the last few years, there has been tremendous leap in terms of technology, which has increased the processing power, the GPU, and the storage, which is now aiding to Gen AI and the foundation layer of Gen AI. If you look at Walmart historical cases, if you would have heard how Walmart used to do a very aggressive pricing or the pricing strategy, Walmart was totally managing its pricing strategy on the basis of an efficient supply chain management and on the basis of predatory prices, which was done on the basis of a historical data, which used, of course, already AI systems. But what happened in between when Amazon and, if you look at the difference between Walmart and Amazon, you will suddenly see there's a rise of a new marketplace, Amazon, while Walmart was not letting any other player in the retail industry come. The reason was somewhere when Amazon was in a different space, and probably Walmart did not see it as a threat initially. By that time, we're talking about omni-channel, and we're talking about supply chain management not limited to the traditional supply chain management. Now, before I get into supply chain management, I want to just walk you through how generative AI models work. So this is a very, I would say, 10,000 feet diagram of how generative AI model works. Of course, there is deep down in every layer, and this is kind of what is happening in an organization, which I will walk you through later with the help of a video or a case study. Now, if you look at this, there is a data which is fed in the system. There is a Gen AI model. Now, this could be GPT, this could be Claude, this could be Gemini, this could be Perplexity. It could be any model that is available today in this area. And then you put a prompt and you get an output. The prompt, of course, you have to train this model. Now, the reason it is called a Gen AI model is it's also trained multiple times on scenarios, because what if you think of sun collapsing? You cannot think of it because it hasn't happened. But if you build a model to think about it, then there will be a scenario building, and you have to design the scenario so that the model is well prepared for it. Now look at we have looked at what is generative AI doing, right? So think about how can it add value to the area that we are talking about. Now, generative AI encompasses of models that create. Can you tell me what is the difference between AI and Gen AI? Uh, you have attended a lot of class, so I would like it to be a little interactive also. So what is the difference between generative AI and AI? Why are we even discussing it? Because like we said, it's industry 5.0 now that we're talking about agents, but even in industry 4.0. Yeah, so Aparna is raised hand. So Aparna, I don't think I can unmute you. If you can type your answer, that would be great. So
I've
if
allowed her
all
to
of you,
talk. I've allowed her to talk. She can
okay, okay,
she can
okay,
talk. I mean, ma'am, you can talk, Aparna, ma'am.
yeah,
Otherwise, she can
uh,
type if she
yeah, you
doesn't
can
want
type.
to talk.
It would be faster. And I see some Mr. Surendra has written AI is human body and Gen AI is cell in a body. Okay, so well, it's a good way. It's a very unique way of looking at it. Yeah, I mean, you can also call that because, but there's a unique difference between AI and generative AI. AI is a predictive model. AI is utilizing the data you've already fed to give you something in that line. Okay, so for example, if I put, if you put, no, so I see an answer which is Mr. Sukanya has written AI is real and Gen AI is not real. No, so yeah, you can call it that also, but look at it. If you look at the AI model, which is so you will let's say if I give you past 10 years data on sales, then it can predict what is going to be this year's maximum sales and which components are going to be sold, what are the areas that I have to look into, which are the categories I will have to focus into, what are the maybe what happened when this strategy was applied, and it can give you detailed analysis, which is called predictive analysis, which is the basis of past data. Now giving you what you have fed. Whereas in case of Gen AI, you feed a data on the basis of my past sales, I can actually create a new category. I can ask the model to tell me what do you think is a category I should go now with the in the market with, which you think on the basis of my past data will get sold out. So it's making a decision, analyzing the data, but then it's also making a decision. More importantly, with the newer models, if you learn now, they are no more past data. They're also doing work in the real time basis. So it can actually look at the market right now, and it can tell you that it's getting very cold. So maybe you will have sweaters being sold a lot, and maybe you should suddenly get out with a new category of furry sweaters early so that you get a better sale. So that is the model, that is the difference between a AI and a Gen AI, basic difference. uh, like I said, they have fundamentally difference in the way they approach, right? One is focused on the data you have fed, and the data, like someone said, is real. Okay, and the output is not output is a predictive one, so it's actually predicting something on the basis of past data and giving you a direction where you want to go. Whereas in case of generative AI, you can ask for an output, and you have sky is the limit of for your creativity in terms of what do you want to do with that data. Uh, right. Now, today we are going to be concentrating on three areas. And the reason I want to stick to these three areas is because of the one is time constraint. Number two is because we will just look at three areas and see how is it being impacting, at least in the supply chain industry. The first of is text generation, and second is image, and third is simulation results. How will these three areas make changes for supply chain management? Now, this is typical supply chain management. This is what you would have seen if you had ever studied supply chain management almost even 30 years back. You would see this diagram. And this is what we heard when we said, why is the price of a commodity or anything in the market, expensive? Because some people said, oh, maybe the distribution, the retailer is hoarding it, or the distributor is hoarding to increase the price of commodity. And because it was a very unilateral, if you look at this is a single line or unilateral relationship where there is a supplier, there is a manufacturing, so the manufacturing unit goes to take things, raw material from supplier, then there is a distribution, and then there's a retailer, there's a customer. Now, firstly, this supply chain management is no more. This is something which probably Walmart did, and Walmart, its innovation was in this area. One, it's managing suppliers. Number two, managing distribution, and number three, establishing lot of outlets, and of course, doing a predictive analysis and that's how Walmart became Walmart. But when Amazon came, this whole thing got changed. Now, you're not looking at this unilateral thing. Now you have a manufacturer directly selling to customer. And all of you today know that there are I mean, there are like 10 things you can order your grocery from Blinkit. You can order your food from Uber. You can also order it from Zomato, and you can also order it from, multiple other out. So there is no unilateral supply chain management anymore. And same applies to, if you look at it, because this is a general supply chain management diagram, it will apply to any other supply chain management. The only reason I have, I have a fashion supply chain management is because I want you to, there is a slight difference between both, fashion and this. And the only difference, if you look at, is a very unique area for fashion called product design. And so one is you have a product design, and then you have a prototyping. Those two areas differentiate it, and are also something which becomes a very unique bottleneck for fashion. I want to show you a video before I go into this. And normally this happens that the video doesn't play with the sound. So I'm going to reshare my screen with the sound. And just give me a moment. Okay, okay. There's some problem with the sound sharing system in my laptop, and I'm trying to share it. So let me know if I am sharing, if you can hear the sound. So I think you guys are not able to hear the sound, is what I can understand. There's some issue with the sound sharing system of mine. However, I want to pause it and uh, highlight on, which other area I want to talk about. I'm going to be stopping it wherever I want to pay attention. Just give me a moment. Let me try and open this video in YouTube. Mm, okay. Right. So the reason why I wanted to play this is because I wanted to showcase what are the key components for fashion and how does it differ from the uh, regular industry. Mm. Okay, I'm not getting the option of share sound is what I feel. So I am very sorry that there's some problem with my system sound issue. I don't know why it is not sharing it. So I'm just going to walk through the video, pause and open the subtitles for now. Okay, I just paused here because if you see, there are two things that they have focused so far. One is existential problems, which is sustainability. If you look at and the before this, they spoke about fast fashion, two very important areas for fashion as an industry. Oh, I will skip through the video because I don't want you to be seeing this advertisement. So you saw that there's a very important thing, even the biggest of the fashion companies who were, like Zara or who are large space like H&M are facing is a threat from, the producers in China. And the reason for this is because one, fashion industry is no more only about designs, or it's also about fast fashion. So it is about cheap, it is about faster to market, and it is also about now with a newer regulations in the countries, sustainability. Because of fast fashion means that you're going to be shedding your clothes sooner, and which means there will be more fabric which is going to the landfills, or it's going in waste or in the bins. So there are taxation on both organizations and individuals. For example, I live in the Netherlands, and I cannot dispose a fabric in the same bin as what I have for my waste. So there are different bins which are made for throwing your clothes, and you can go and put your clothes there. So of course they will sort it out and see if it can be used, and they will give it to poor or people who are in need first, and then they will send it to recycle units, and this saves the government a lot of money in terms of sorting the waste. It also helps a very large part, which is sustainability. Now, I am coming back to my presentation and talking about introduction of generative AI in supply chain management. Now, we spoke about three areas which generative AI is going to be making a lot of changes in. Number one, in generating unique text. Number two, about generating unique images. And number three, we are talking about scenario building. So if you look at the fashion supply chain management as such, there are the largest area that fashion chain or the supply chain management faces is the volatility in terms of demand, and the decision making needed for it. So today we will be focusing on what is the demand forecasting area where AI is going to be helping in terms of accuracy, predicting customer demand, optimizing inventory levels. Then automation, if you look at the unique text areas or unique image generation, how can it help in generating automated promotional plan, or how can it help you create a marketing strategies? And then in a very scenario building, how supplier risk analysis can be met. Now, if you look at demand forecasting, right, in one has to, like we spoke about the older areas, and we saw in the video where H&M actually faced a lot of losses, reported losses, because of the change in weather. They couldn't sell their stock because of the weather changes. traditional AI model, it is not built for it. A traditional AI model can only do prediction on the basis of what information is fed, what has happened in the past. It can predict the possibility or probability of it going to be happening in the future. Whereas if you look at generative AI model, it will information which is right now happening in the present. How is the weather forecast going to be looking for, let's say, next 30, 40, 60 days, and help you predict a demand better using those factors in the area. It also from various engines. For if you look at today's fashion industry, it is no more limited to unilateral or if you talk about any supply chain management, like you spoke about Amazon, or so it's no more limited to a unique supplier relationship. It is limited at multiple platforms. How is it being trending online? How is it being sold on, you know, how is it being received on various public social platform, and all the reporting can be used to simulate your demand in real time. If, most important part that we were talking about of generating unique content, unique images, where can we use, think about it. Any thought, where can you use unique text or unique images? Any answers? So, okay, I will come to that. So let us look at the capability of an generative AI engine. A generative AI engine is capable of scenario generation and data synthesis using the real-time information, making a actual decision in the supply chain management much more easier for you if you are a part of it. And I will also talk about areas where it will be no more dependent on people. It will help you in doing enhanced logistic planning by simulating various routing and capacity options, improving efficiency and reducing the cost. This is a very important area. And if you look at supplier risk analysis, in the past, if you look at 10 years back to, any 20 years, I would say 30 years back data, the maximum pricing in the market of goods or commodity increased because there was supplier risk, because onion price went so high because there was flood in certain areas which was producing onion, or so these are something you would have heard of, but now you can plan for it. Now we're going to be talking about what is a case where it's going to be talking about predictive analysis and supplier risk analysis in retail, and what are the key areas that they are going to be. So if you look at retail, what are the areas that you buy from Amazon, right? There are dynamic promotional strategies, and who's going to be designing it? In the past, you had actually marketing managers who had to think about scenarios, what is the promotion scheme they can do, and it took a long time for you to design promotion schemes. When now you have a capability of Gen AI, which is capable of building scenarios, also capable of predicting market study, and giving you a scenario of maybe you should give a discount of 30%. And this is what is estimated sale. This is what you should also use as a marketing collateral. It can design both content, image, and you saw in your past session video for you. Now, I want to share it, but then I am very sorry, my sound is not being shared, and I wonder why not. Let me see. Why is it not sharing my sound? I'm just trying to see if it can share. Share is on. Okay. Okay, let me try. Can you guys hear? Because this is an important video, I want to make sure you are able to hear me. Can you guys hear me or hear the video? If you can message, because there is, I wonder why it is not letting me share sound. Okay, let me reshare. Okay, great. I'm happy. Okay. So I'm video sound you couldn't hear? Oh, I'm feeling bad now. Okay. I am just going to walk you through this video, and maybe you can look back when after this session. This is a video available online. I will share the link with you. But I'm just walking you through what happens in this scenario, right? Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. Now, this is a scenario that I spoke to you almost some time back. I'm going back on this. Okay, so this is, if you remember, I told you I'll be walking you through what happens here. So in this case, what is happening is that uh, this is exactly what is happening in the case of so they're talking about Dahlia. There's a lady called Dahlia who is working in Heinz, which is a tomato ketchup company, if you'll see. And so they produce tomato ketchup, and they're majorly dependent on a few suppliers. How does uh so this is a generative AI engine, right? We're talking about Microsoft Copilot, which is, and they have made a specialty in supply chain management, which Heinz is using, which is actually, in every sub step there is a GPT engine. So it's basically this happening, this whole process is happening, but it's happening in one, two, three, four separately. Okay. So first thing is impact detection. What is happening is that, hey, there was a news that there was a flood in Michigan, and the Heinz company had a major supplier from Michigan. What happens that the co-pilot, which is there, detects the news item, and as soon as it detects the news item, it immediately highlights it to the lady who is working as a supplier relationship manager at Heinz, where it says that there is a flood in Michigan, and it highlights it. It brings it to top to her attention, and it also automatically drafts an email that, do you want to send your supplier a mail asking if will you be able to supply us tomatoes in the harvest season. So look at the intelligence that is built in, or can be built in the agent. It's it's the season where you are still, putting seeds for tomato. It's not a harvest season, but there's a flood. So definitely 3 months down the line, it's going to be impacting you. So you want to be cautious and you want to make sure that the farmers with whom you have relationship is going to be able to still supply you with tomatoes. So you ensure that. And what if not? What if this doesn't happen? If this doesn't happen, what will happen is you will have a risk mitigation strategy. You will also start finding other suppliers in other areas perhaps who will be able to supply you with tomatoes. So the whole video is about it, and I think I can share the video link so that you all can go back and check it for yourself and understand what is happening in the video. I will share the video link separately, or I can share it from YouTube. Now I'm going to my next slide because I don't want to be spending so much time on why the sound is not being sharing. Uh, right. Leveraging generative AI in fashion and supply chain management. There's a very important part in fashion and supply chain, fashion supply chain management. And like I said, there are very two important differentiating factor. One is product or design ideas for product, and number two is prototype. And after you saw the fashion of Zara video, you also learned something called fast fashion, which means faster supply chain and agility and responsiveness, right? So, so that's we'll talk about how does it help these companies in fashion. See a lot of messages. Please share screen only. Is my screen not visible? Sorry. Sharing it. So I have a bad throat today. Okay. Is it visible now? Is it better? Okay. So, so going to be talking about what are the most important thing. If you think about the largest of fashion, if you know the fashion designers, and if we talk in India, if you would have heard of Manish Malhotra or the biggest designers, what is the unique strength? It's the design, right? With Gen AI, you no more need the designers. You think about the biggest area that is an existential threat for fashion as an industry for these designers is that anybody can actually create a design, and you don't even need a designer. And it doesn't matter anymore if you look at it, right? Because the capability of generative AI lets you make your own design. The important thing for fashion industry is if you would have seen the biggest of ramp shows are running because of virtual of sampling. The fashion whole industry is running on certain areas. One are the fashion designers, number two are fashion shows, and number three is, fashion models. So now with the areas of virtual sampling, you can do number one, you can do a unique design. You can design your own things or goods or material. Secondly, you can even see or prototype it. So prototype is where normally what happens is this is also an area fashion industry loses a lot of time on. So if I come up with an idea, then I will have three different ideas, and then we'll make three different prototypes, and then out of these prototypes you will select which one has to go to market. So of course you have a lead time on this, right? So you may lose some 15, 20, 30 days depending on what is the industry, what is the time in making the prototype. And then the third stage, which is sampling it or now you need to, after you made a prototype, you also need to, while you're making a prototype, design what is the fabric going to be looking like, what are you going to use as a fabric to design it. And number fourth, how do you exhibit it? You'll have a fashion show, you'll have a model, you'll hire a person. Even if you hire anybody, you'll have to pay. All these steps have been taken care of, and there are companies, organizations who are helping you build. The whole chain is done. You can generate your own design, you can prototype your own design, you can even generate your own 3D generated clothing with the fabric you want, and you can even sample it, and you can even put it online with fake auto generated or generative AI models. So I wanted to talk to you about a real life scenario where I was when I was working with NASCOM. We had a startup who was working on generating images, and this is almost 5 years back. So I obviously we had not heard of Chat GPT, and we had not heard of what is machine learning, and all of these concepts were being spoken about. I had heard in different random talks, but of course their capability was not something open to everybody. And I understood from these companies, what do you do with, they said we generate images of people. I said, who uses them? Who is the user? And they said, a lot of fashion industry, fashion companies, fabric companies, because when you see any image on Flipkart, or if you see anybody, if you see a cloth on Flipkart, if you see any dress on Flipkart, you see a model, right? That's a real person if you look at it. They actually generate a picture and generate a cloth on a person, and you would not know if it is a real person or not. And with generative AI, that organization actually has almost lost the whole case if you look at it, because now it's publicly available. Anybody can do it, right? A very important portion which fashion as an industry has a threat from, and which we shared, is sustainability. See, with the more and more fast fashion, what happened in the last whole decade, suddenly the consumer mindset increased, or I would say the power, or the parity, or the pay parity increased, and people are able to own more. Also, the production prices have gone down. With this, what is happening is there is a sudden boom in the amount of waste which is going in landfill. This has brought a lot of organization, world world policymakers to think about a larger area of sustainability. So it's becoming more and more important for companies who are working in production fashion to show how are they helping in the overall picture of sustainability. So now they have to talk about recycling fabrics, they have to talk about sustainable fabrics. Also, they have to talk how are they utilizing it in the supply chain. It's a very important portion, because that is how it will also impact their tax structure, how are they taxed, and how do they pay the governments. Now, I wanted to show all of you. This is a site called Runway. Runway, where you can go and log in, and you get some limited points to try. I wanted to try my own, and generate my own fabric. And so this is what I did. So this is a t-shirt that I made using Runway. Now, can you see this? There is a person wearing it. So if I want today, I can put this t-shirt on any of the online platform like Flipkart, or list it in Flipkart or Amazon. And the moment I have, I can also put it a minimum order of 100 or 200. And the moment I have an order, I can go and produce it. I can get it printed, because I have a design, and and you can see, you know, I can list it. And I haven't done any of these things. I haven't designed it. I don't need a model to you know make it, put it on a online platform, and I don't any of this to even go take it to the market. So just try this site, and this is a site which is capable of generating images and videos, so you can even make unique videos using the site. Now, okay, so we spoke about all the areas about how generative AI is helping us in modifying the supply chain management. But when we talk about it, we are talking very, very at a very, very 36,000 up in the air without actually talking about what are the nitty-gritties or what are the challenges that we're going to be facing while doing generative AI. So, what are the technical challenges that one can across? Number one is when you're getting a lot of data, especially a data which is coming from social media or all the other areas, the quality of the data makes a very lot of difference. Right now, the large language models we are utilizing have been uniquely constructed. As the model keeps retraining itself, you don't know what is the data the model is getting and what is it being going to be generating. So technically, the model is poor, then the output is going to be poor. And with the operational risk that it has. Just give me 1 minute. I'm going on mute and I'm also going off video because I have to just connect my laptop because my power battery is very low. Just give me a moment. Sorry, it had gone very low, so I had to connect. All right. So the operational risk is the reliance of generative AI completely, and a very, very important part for organizations to believe that what is the transparency. So, for example, you might have heard a lot about it when you're using a chat GPT. Is your information going to the organization? Is it being used? So there's no transparency if you look at today, right? How do you ensure that there is a there's no breach of information? So that's a very, very important operational risk when it is coming to Gen AI. Regulatory consideration are very important because if you look at Gen AI today, you are using a chat GPT in India, you're using a chat GPT in, I use it in Netherlands or you use it in US, because of the transparency or because the fluidity of web, you don't know what data is being, how, what is the regulation of this data. And so far there are no regulations which have been designed, and I think the industry itself is thinking about how to regulate these platforms, especially these large language models, and how to make sure they are being rightly used. Also, if you look at the power of large language model, there are power centers like Microsoft owns now, of course, a major portion of OpenAI, and Microsoft also has its own engine called Microsoft Copilot. Then you have a large stake from Google, which is Gemini. Then you have a large, so basically there is an investment from large technology company who will be owning, and they will be limited to three or four, which is a very, very important consideration when it comes to this power center of data. How can you transfer the whole data, or can you rely on such large corporates to have all the data? Now, I did talk about future trends. If you remember, there's a separate line that I had on future trends, and the reason is because it's a very, very important part for us as people or as citizens to understand what are the changes which are going to be taking place in technology. What is the shift which is going to happen in next few years? Now, before I go to the impact of this, I thought we'll do a hands-on exercise. So I am going to share this link of Gemini with you guys, with all of you. And Wait, I have stopped sharing my screen. So I'm just going to share the Gemini link with all of you. Okay, so I'm also going to be opening Gemini. In the meantime, I'm sharing the file with all of you. It's a CSV called component, and I'm sharing my screen as I just give me a moment. I'm sharing my screen also. You can open the link which I have shared with you. I hope all of you can see my screen. So I'm on Gemini right now, and it has a tools. And if you open in this tools canvas, right, I'm going to be uploading this document which I've shared with all of you. Okay, so this is the component which I have opened, and let me open the case that we are going to be. So I have multiple cases. I'm just going to be walking through few of them for you to understand that how does a Gen AI engine work. Now this engine can be designed very customized to your choices or for your scenario, right? Now, okay. So you have a Excel sheet, right? So it's a smartphone company sources key components, battery, chips, screens from 3 countries, and recent geopolitical tension threatens supply chain continuity, right? Now, using Gemini, you have to, find out which component have low inventory and come from only one country. Okay. So do you want to hear? You have the Excel sheet already, right? If you can open the Excel, you can see that this is a data which I've shared with you already. It's nothing but of a smartphone company. And the key component we are talking about are battery, chips, and screen. And they are coming from 3 different countries. Now there is a geopolitical tension, and now you don't want to be dependent on supplier, right? So we'll do one question: which component have low inventory and come from only one country? We'll do this. Okay, so I am typing this, and if you want, I can also type the same question on chat so that all of you can also, you have it ready made. And now it is here. Okay. So if you look at this, right, this is the area where it is actually working. This is the working of the, this is what is going on in the background. What is it? What is the model doing now? Okay. So if you have gone through Python a bit, you will understand that it's almost this is what is going on in this, and you can also export it to Colab, which is Google Colab, because this is Gemini. Now, where is the answer? Okay, so it's saying the data you provided is perfect for this. I will load the file and filter for components with low inventory. I will use Python to process the file and give you an answer. Okay. Now, this is the filter components. Okay. Uh, there's some issue with Canvas, I think. I'm trying it without Canvas. Okay. So let's analyze it. Let's see. Okay. Now, The components that have low inventory and come from only one country are battery and speakers. These components represent a high supply chain risk due to their low stock combined with a lack of sourcing alternative. Let me know if you would like to dive deeper into countries of origin. So now I'm just randomly putting another question. Can you suggest alternative supplier and highlight best, cheapest, and sustainable? Now this is my option. And so why is it working? Because it is connected to, real time information via internet, via a large lot of, you know, backup information. Now, if I look at this, see, I recommend focusing on your immediate sourcing effort on batteries, investigating US or European manufacturer like those mentioned in LGS or Cadillac, speakers exploring Indonesia or Thailand. So, did you all do it? Are you doing it with me? If you want, you can take a minute and do something unique and different also. You don't have to stick to this question, or you don't have to stick to only this line item that I'm talking about. We can do the reason why I wanted to showcase this is because for you to understand how the capabilities of an engine are. And this is a Gen AI engine, which is Google Gemini, is what I'm using right now. You can also try this in Chat GPT, or you can also try it in any other, platform. What is the unique thing about this is that if you all know that, something which is very different with Gen AI is making things so easy for anybody. If you look at, some years back, even to find a data in an Excel, you have to run a VLOOKUP command. Now we just uploaded a Excel and we wanted analysis out of it. And the engine is not only looking for things, doing its own set. And if you look at it, it has done a string analysis and search analysis, and all of those are done at the back end. If you see the working here, you will see that what is it doing with the CSV? What are the, what are the things it's doing working with CSV file? The background, you can also see the background, how is it searching and what are the areas it is doing. But then you as a user is having very smooth interface. You don't have to type any string command, any queries, and it's so easy for you. Not only is it doing that, it's also giving you an analysis, and it's also suggesting. Now, which is the very unique part, that it's able to build a scenario, doing a scenario analysis, and making the important part called decision making. Now, if you look at Gen AI, they feel that, the reason why they talk about generative AI is where do they want to bring it is to the capability of human brain. And uh, we are getting there. We obviously haven't reached there, but then this is a very the part of decision making is built a lot of intelligence into it. I hope all of you are on the same page as me. Is this clear? Do we have any queries so far? Any questions? Is this understood? Okay, great. So this was a very important part that I wanted to run through. Okay, so yeah, so I wanted all of you to do with me. I think some people have missed it. See, it's a very simple thing. You upload the file here. The reason I brought a file, you can also upload something of your own. You don't have to stick to my file. The only reason I brought This file is because, I wanted it to be quicker, you to have a ready-made file to work with. Now, so there is a component file that I shared with all of you. The component file, if I open it and show it to you, okay. I'm resharing my screen because I think, okay. If you look at this is the component file, okay. So, see, this is a component file, and I spoke about the case in the beginning. This is a smartphone company, which, and the key component of smartphone making is what? Battery, microchip, display, screen, camera, sensor, speaker, charging port. These are, let's say, the key component that you make a smartphone with. And these are the core supplier country. This is the inventory level. And you can have more complex excels. I'm just, yeah. So once you, now what am I showing is that I have on Gemini, I have uploaded the CSV, which I shared with all of you. Let me close it on my, okay. Okay. And now I'm just asking it for, which are the supplier that my dependency is very high, which are the low risk, let's say low risk suppliers. So we just checking the capability of the platform, which is a Gen AI platform. What is it capable of? How is it capable of interpreting data? uh, on the basis of interpreting data, it's also, doing an analysis. If you look at, this is the, the data that we fed, and now it will also give you an analysis of how is this data, and give you, even if you want a next level interpretation, for example, now, okay, which are the markets I can sell my smartphones to, for example. So you, so this all is based on the real time information. I don't have all of this information, but it's helping me with the help of the engine, which is the, the Gen AI engine, which is giving me all the areas, it's talking about the trends in the market, and then help me whichever area I should pitch. It can also design a marketing collateral if I want right now. It can also design a photo for the marketing collateral. So those are the areas that we are checking with the help of a real time, real example. That's why I wanted to share this Excel. Okay. So going back to our presentation, we are coming on a very, very important area, which is the future trends. Okay. Now, while we are talking about Gen AI, a lot of, the other day I heard the CEO of Opacity talking about it. A lot of people feel that we haven't come to the stage where people are talking about losing jobs, but we are going to reach there. That is because of what has generative AI enabled. So we are talking about what are the future trends and how is this whole area going to be shaping up. A large portion of the future of AI, Gen AI is being spoken about is agentic AI. And now they have started comparing what is agentic AI and what is generative AI. How are they different? Now, the agentic AI is nothing but it focuses on decision as compared to creating new content. So what does it mean? It means that it doesn't depend on humans to take action. So I mean, all of you would have heard of earlier, we used to have this call center agent or, customer service agent. Why were they called an agent? Because they are capable of they have an agency and they are agents and they can take actions, right? That's why they're called agent. I am going back to my example of Dahlia, and I'll tell you how these agents are going to make a difference in the real time basis. Oh, I'm just searching for my video. Okay. So the Microsoft Copilot example where I gave you, I was playing the video, you couldn't hear it, but then when I was playing this video, I told I told you there is a lady Dahlia who is working in Haynes. So this lady is working in is a supplier relationship manager in Haynes company. Now, what are we talking about? We are talking about, she's a supply chain planner, and I hope you can read because you couldn't hear me. So I wanted to share the text, and you can see that. Okay, so you saw that Dahlia is a supplier relationship manager. Now we're coming back to how is it going to change in the future. You saw that Dahlia or finally drafted an email and sent an email. Now what will happen if if you have an agent instead of Dahlia? Just replace Dahlia with an agent. Now with the agentic AI, what is going to happen is that I'm coming back to my presentation. With an agent AI, what is going to happen is that imagine a scenario where there is a flood in certain part of the country. Let's imagine I am Dahlia and I have a tomato ketchup factory at home. Now, because I don't have many people, unlike Hens, which is a big company, I am a small company. So I cannot employ a lot of people in marketing, sales, so many people. So what do? I instead have multiple agents created. Now there is an agent and I'm doing, because I get to talk to people very less, I don't have so much time. The agent is doing most of the things. You know that agents are even capable of humanly talking, and you have heard Alexa and you've heard multiple other agents by now. So I deploy agents who are now capable of doing my supply chain management. What does the agent do? The agent, firstly, I have a GPT engine behind it, which is interpreting there is a threat in to my supply, which is my tomatoes, because there is a rain in some part of India where I was going to get my tomatoes from, and because I suspect there will be a bad harvest, so I reach out to them. In this case, I'm not I don't need a human. The agent is drafting an email, also sending an email, also placing an order with alternate agency in case they estimate the percentage of the goods being not coming. So that's also a possibility. There are organizations who have started working on agents, early stage agentic AI, or what they talk about agents versus agentic AI is that agentic AI is nothing but an AI acting as an agent, and whereas agent is multiple, agents giving you an actionable multiple actions. I am coming to this area where we spoke about, what is the regulation, right? And if you see, this is a news of November 4th, and this was before my last faculty development class. So I took the screenshot and I kept with me, and from then it's an addition to the whole PPT. The reason is because what has happened in this case. Have you read about it or heard about it? What has happened is that Amazon feels that Perplexity is sending its agent to Amazon site to do price discovery. What does that mean? That means that Perplexity has no people going to Amazon to shop. It's deployed few agents to go to Amazon to shop. In the meantime, also discovering the prices. And for that, Amazon has sued Perplexity. But according to Perplexity, this is an innovation and it's capable. In the future, people can have their own agents doing shopping for them. And it's an innovative thing, and innovation cannot be fraud. It's not fraud. And of course, Amazon has properly filed a suit against Perplexity, and there is no decision. And we don't know who is wrong because that's the future of technology. There is a possibility that one can even deploy agents. So if you don't have time and if you read out a list, the agent will go to Amazon website, go find the best prices, place order on behalf of you, also pay on behalf of you. Or maybe if you have a postpaid, setup, then so pay. But then they are going to be shopping on behalf of you and the order would arrive to you. This is the future which we are looking at. Google has come with its own agent development kit, ADK. You wouldn't have heard a lot from Google in this space so far, but soon you will hear a large noise about that also. And it's called ADK, Agent Development Kit, which Google is offering on its platform with Gemini. Gemini is their large language model, where you can create your own agents. And these agents will be then also, can be utilized. And right now they're at the beginning of launching their agentic platform, but you will soon hear about it as well. Now, these are certain questions that are part of they were a part of this whole supply chain management. I picked them up. I thought I'll just go through them while we finish the content. So, could you guys answer? Could all of you answer? What are the strategic approaches to achieving sustainability in supply chain, linear economy concept, non-value added activities, lean principles, or circular economy concepts? So, do you, all of you knows what is a circular economy concept or what is a linear economy concept? So this is a part of supply chain management, which I think I did not cover, but so I would just quickly like to talk about. When we talk about circular, it's very simple. It's like recycle, right? Recycle. If you see in recycle on plastic bottle, there is a circular thing which means it's recycled or which means it will be recycled. So that's circular economy concept. And of course, as we talk about sustainability, circular economy concept become more and more important. And sooner you will look at this concept, coming in most of the things we consume as consumers. So generative AI improves demand forecasting accuracy by creating. Can you guess which answer? Any answers? So you can think of it as A, B, C, D. These are probabilistic, algorithm-based, predictive, and deterministic. Hmm. I see some of you typing predictive. No, we're talking about generative AI. We are not talking about AI. AI had predictive. What is better than predictive? Predictive needs you know, some predictive doesn't need so much of decision making if you look at it. What is probabilistic model? See, what happens when you have a difficult scenario of decision making, right? So, no, algorithm based is what you see, let's say on Facebook, what people used to talk, right? That Facebook sends you advertisement based on algorithm, which is what? Which is again predictive. I saw uh, four face cream, uh, face cream videos. So now the fifth one will also be face cream. That is algorithm based. So there's an algorithm design which is doing what? Which is a predicting. So basically, when it comes to Gen AI, it's probabilistic because you saw that we uploaded an Excel file and how it could think about all scenario, give us a scenario-based analysis. Third one. Sorry. Third one, what is the answer? Where has GenAI impacted SCM? Okay, so I'm just sharing the references I have used to make this presentation. And any questions, any queries, please. Also, Kamna is back here because I think a lot of you still had questions about assessment.
Yeah. I'm just, while they're coming up with the questions, I'll just take 2 minutes to share some things. So, I'm being bombarded on the WhatsApp also by the questions. So I thought I'll just quickly take 2 minutes. So, all those who are listening, we have created your group from the registered email ID on Atal. So if you are not using that ID, you will not see that group. So please use the registered email ID on Atal for logging in on Future Skills Prime. Then you will be able to see your groups. Go to my groups. There you will see AICT Atal online FTP Generative AI Fluency participants. There you will see your assessment also, which is a free assessment. None of you have to pay any money for the assessment. And you can take the assessment anytime after this lecture, but we will close it by Sunday. So please take it by Sunday, because Monday we have to take out the scores and submit those to AICT. So I cannot extend the time beyond Sunday. So you please complete it by then. In case there is any issue, please raise a ticket to support@futureskillsprime.in and you can mark me a copy. And they will help to resolve your issue.
Maybe Kamna, you can ask one of them who has already registered and can show their screen, no? Where
Yes.
they
If somebody wants to do that, you can raise your hand. I'll allow you to talk and share your screen also. I can promote you to panelist. Babita, if you are, I can promote you to panelist. You can show your screen also. Anyone who has done this process can share their screen. They can raise their hand and I can promote them to the panelist and they can share their screen. So,
Hello, ma'am. I have a question.
yes.
As I have logged in this portal, Future Skill Prime, then I have
Yes.
gone to the screen which is showing enroll option.
Yeah.
So I have to enroll for both AI skill
why
and
don't you share your screen, because it'll be better for everybody. Share your screen.
actually I have opened from laptop and I am speaking from my mobile.
Okay. I will show my screen. You can see. Just give me 1 minute. I'll show my screen. So when you go on groups, you will see this. 1 second.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just logging in and showing my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here you will see these groups.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Groups.
this is the group, AICT Atal Online FDP. This is the group. If you scroll down, this is the assessment. Where it says assessment, you have to enroll here. This is the
Okay.
course. You may or may not enroll here. That is your sweet will. If you want to enroll here and learn the contents, it's your wish. But you please take this assessment. It is very clearly written. It is the assessment. Please take this, enroll in this, and take the assessment. I hope it is
Okay.
clear for everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
So thank you, everybody. I hope all of you take assessment tomorrow and pass with,
Flying colors.
flying colors.
And the course is also available. If you want, you can take the course. And if you want to extend it to your students, please reach out to me. I can create a cohort of your students and they can also take this course free of cost. But for them, the assessment will be paid. That is 600 rupees. But for you, assessment is completely free. So I'll repeat once again. The course is also there. Assessment is the one where you will get the assessment. It is free for you. It is not on Atal portal. It is on Future Skills Prime. I'm repeating again. Assessment is on Future Skills Prime. It is not on Atal. I've shown the screen also. Please take the assessment. And if you want to share any Future Skill Prime courses for your students, please get in touch with me. You have my coordinates. We can extend it to your students also. No, it is not on Atal, Dr. Mohammed Naziruddin sir. It is not on Atal. It is on Future Skills Prime. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have all the best for your completion.
Yeah, and
Your
I will
courses.
share Anjana's PPT with you in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you so
first
much,
do
Anjana.
this
Thank you.
one. Thank you so much, Kamna. So somebody's written, should we do courses? Yes. First complete this and do many courses on Future Skills Prime.
Thank you. Thank you, Anjana.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.